This week's Look at Local Sports sponsored by 315 Local Bakery and Diner, Alexandria Bay.
Hello once again, folks. Welcome to our little get-together here, a vacation week for schools. And this is brought to you this week, as it is every week, by 315 Local Bakery and Diner in Alexandria Bay. There's only one business brave enough to sponsor this, and it's them, and we appreciate them being here for the ride.
Absolutely. I was thinking about them today when I was coming into work. Beautiful day out here on Wednesday when we tape this, and what a better day to spend on the river in Alex Bay and going to 315 and getting some food.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
You know, I mentioned that this is vacation week for schools. Not a lot of games this week involving local schools. So I wanted to do something a little different.
All right.
I want you to use your imagination a little bit because I want you to think that we're two guys talking in a bar.
Sounds good.
All righty? And if you get thirsty, have an imaginary beer. But I just want to throw some stuff out at you, and you think about it and give me your answer and whatever.
That sounds good.
I'm going to start with a pet peeve.
You got it in your hand there.
Especially for you young folks out there, this is called a ticket. This is a real ticket from 2011, I think, Syracuse and Rutgers. You can't get a real ticket anymore for an SU football game or probably basketball game or a lot of sporting events for this point because they're all on your phone.
Right.
They're all electronic. I would shake my head when I saw people have like a piece of white paper with a barcode on it or something like that walking down. This is what you got with the price of the ticket. You actually got something that you could keep as a souvenir. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, Robbie. I mean, I've saved a bunch of these over the years. Have you done the same?
Yeah, they were collector's items, and they were always, fun to have. And if you needed to find your seat when you got up to go get something to eat, you could always pull your ticket out and go, oh, got to go here. Now you got to get your phone out. And like you said, if you want to give your ticket to somebody else, you have to go through the process of transferring it through your phone and an app, and it just makes it so much harder instead of going, hey, here's a ticket for you. Let's go to the game.
Well, if there's one thing I want to do before I leave this business, that is to bring this from being extinct back into the actual physical ticket.
And look on the back of that.
Yep.
I mean, what's it? Free 32-ounce Pepsi from Tully's if something happens.
Yep.
So, I mean, you even had coupons on the back of that.
But I would never trade it in.
No.
So Tully's actually, they didn't have to give me a free soda because I saved this baby, and I've saved a lot of them over the years. It's part of having a souvenir.
Right.
I'm going to tell you a little secret. Jeff Cole was given tickets to the 1932 World Series. I don't know if they're the whole ticket or a stub. That came through the family, I guess, and Jeff has them. And
you talk about that. Jessica Shaw, who used to work here several years ago, she went to the Olympics and did an internship, and she brought me back some tickets that I have framed, that I've kept. Nowadays, you can't do that with the 1980 Olympics. I'm sure a lot of people have tickets from those that they have framed. Yeah,
I've got tickets.
But you can't do that anymore.
No. So if you get anything out of this, first of all, for young kids,
that's a ticket.
This is what we used to get. It wasn't, you didn't have to go on Ticketmaster and download it. I mean, it's right there. And it's a great souvenir. Okay, I'm sounding like the guy, get off my lawn. But seriously, hey, CDs, they went back to vinyl because the vinyl was actually better than the quality than the CD.
Absolutely.
I think this is better than having it on your phone.
And I think it is too, because a lot of senior citizens, not saying that we're young guys, but a lot of senior citizens don't have that technology. They may have a flip phone. They don't have a mobile phone with all those apps on and off. So it makes it hard for them to go to the games now because that's the only way that you can get in is with the little app and the electronic ticket that you get now. So.
All right. Well, there you go. That's my pet peeve for that. Anything bother you that you want to get out while we're
not right now.
Yeah,
but you got me fired up about that.
I know. Well, here's another thing that younger folks may not know. We used to have professional baseball in Watertown, beginning in 1983 with the Watertown Pirates, a Class A Summer League affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mm-hmm. And then later on, we had the Watertown Indians, Class A New York Penn League affiliate of the Cleveland Indians.
And they came in '89 because my first year here was the last year for the Watertown Pirates in '88, and then in '89, Watertown Indians came in. So
there was something about the uniforms, knowing that the team was associated with a major league ball club, and the talent of people that would come in that later made it to the major leagues. In the case of the Pirates, you had Jay Buhner, you had Moises Alou.
Yep.
These are names that had very good major league careers.
Felix Fermin, I think.
Felix Fermin, who when he didn't hit much, and I'm thinking to myself, he's never going to make it. He had a long major league career.
Well, you want to talk about one guy that didn't hit, that had a pretty successful major league career, and his career changed here in Watertown when he was with the Pirates, Tim Wakefield.
Oh.
When he played first base for the Pirates here and tinkered with the knuckleball and made it to the majors and had a great career with the Pirates and the Red Sox as a pitcher throwing the knuckleball. And unfortunately, Tim has passed away. Yeah, but what a talent he was, and what a great guy.
Yeah, you had a chance to interview him in Pittsburgh.
Yes, I did.
And talk a little bit about that, how that was to talk with him.
It was great. I mean, this was when he came on the scene his first year with the Pirates, and he was having a great deal of success. That was a Pirates team that had Barry Bonds, Bobby Bonilla. I mean, those were the good Pirates teams. And, went out of his way to talk to us, and he was down to earth, talked about his days here in Watertown. And, another guy that we forget about who pitched for the Pirates, Randy Tomlin.
Yeah.
Who married a local girl. Yeah.
And actually, I'm related to her. And which I guess means that I'm related to Randy.
Randy Tomlin, yeah. And then, when the Indians came in, there were a lot of players from the Indians. Matter of fact, they had Brian Giles, Sean Casey. Who, he went on to have a good career. And Kelly Stinnett, who went on to have a decent major league career as a backup catcher for a lot of teams. And then came back here to manage the Watertown Bucks.
The Watertown
briefly,
Bucks, the independent pro team that we had.
That was ran by Matt McCluskey, a former WWNY employee.
Yeah, so, I mean, it just was, it brings back a lot of great memories because just because nowadays young kids, I mean, you got the Collegiate League team that'll play at the fairgrounds once again this summer, but it's not like having a pro team affiliated with a major league team, and that'll never happen because the New York Penn League is gone.
Yeah, I mean,
Major League Baseball got rid of it.
Yeah, and the whole minor league dynamic has changed in the past 10 years too. But you not only talk about the players, you talk about the coaches and the managers that came through here too. One of the coaches, Jim Gabella, I can think of, who was a manager here, and the pitching coaches, Ken Silvestri, who was a great guy to talk to.
He happened to be a roommate, I think, of Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Now Ken was, he was quite old when he was here.
They called him Hatch, right?
Yeah. But the stories that he would tell about because he was with the Yanks for a while, about those Yankee teams, they were kind of fun to listen to.
And I remember going up to do a game on WATN radio up in Welland, Ontario, spent the night, went down and had a few beverages after the game with Mike Schell and Ken Silvestri, and Ken talking about, some of the stories from the old days. And another pitching coach, too. I think he's still in the majors right now, Carl Willis.
The big train. It was his nickname. That was famous by another pitcher for Major League lore. But But Carl Willis, Ted Kubiak, who was part of, as a player, part of those A's teams in the early 70s.
That won the World Series
won
run,
3 consecutive titles. That's...
and you still
back
keep in touch with Ted Kubiak.
I keep in touch with Ted. He's doing well. And, Carl Willis was... It was fun. You talk about going to a bar with Ken. I mean, I would have a lemonade with Kubiak and Willis at Coleman's Corner after a game down at the
some of the
fairgrounds.
stories that they would tell.
Oh, that to me was the charm of it. You're right. Not just the players that came through, but like Ed Ott was a manager for the Pirates.
Yep.
Who was a former major league catcher, and I'm trying to think of Clyburn.
Stan Clyburn.
Stan.
He was with the Pirates. Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, there's a lot of guys,
and some of the roving instructors too ended up being major league general managers as well. So and I got a little bit of breaking news for you because you're talking about the collegiate team playing here this year and all.
Yep.
Done a little research. The Watertown Rapids will be playing in the New York Collegiate Baseball League this year and not the NYCBL. If you go to the New York Collegiate Baseball League website, you will see the Watertown Rapids there along with Syracuse, Rochester, and the Cheryl Silversmiths, my hometown.
A little change.
Yes, a little change this year. And by looking at the schedule, just giving it a cursory glance and all, it looks like the games are going to start at 5 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock at night, too. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. And I believe when the Indians left and we got the Collegiate Baseball League in here, I believe that was the first league that the Watertown teams played in was the New York Collegiate Baseball League, and then they went to the PGCBL.
They were the Wizards.
Yes.
Way back when.
The Wizards.
The Wizards. And that wasn't even, that was owned by an outside ownership that basically came in, didn't really know how to promote the team that first year. They just thought that if they would unlock the gate,
door, the people
would flock. But you gotta know what you're doing as far as promotion of the team.
And then a guy by the nickname of Poppy took over the team. Bought the team.
Oh yeah,
Paul Simmons.
Yeah, Paul Simmons,
and did a great job.
He really did a good job because he understood promotion. He understood, what it took to get people through the gates, and really did a great job. And then I think you just kind of get burned out.
Yes, you do, because it runs its course. But, when we were talking about that, going back to the Watertown Indians days, we were talking about the players and coaches, but how about the people that we sat with on the third baseline while we were shooting the games,
people that you...
Jim and Judy Price.
Yes, Jim passed away not too
recently,
long
ago.
And, I remember all of those. Hey, as my kids... Both boys were bat boys.
That's right.
And my oldest son became a clubhouse guy for a while.
And how it goes full circle. Yeah. Ralph Garland.
Who's still around, still doing well.
Who used to sit while we were shooting all. Well, my son is now dating his granddaughter, so it comes full circle.
There you go.
Yeah, and Ralph's still going strong.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, he is. He's doing well. And
Andy Ionetti,
Andy Ionetta. He was he's doing well. He's still going on.
And he would always let us know he was related to a major league player who played for the Colorado Rockies and the Yankees for a bit too. The catcher.
Yes, Chris
Ionetta.
Yeah, Chris Ionetta.
Yep.
The one thing I do miss about minor league baseball that kids will never get the opportunity to see because of the change of the major league contract with the Players Association and stuff like that, where you can't play exhibition games during the regular season anymore.
I know where you're going with this.
Would be to go to Syracuse,
find
out when the Syracuse Chiefs were playing the New York Yankees.
Yes.
They would come to Syracuse to play an exhibition game in season. It usually would be on a Monday night, And I remember going to see Reggie Jackson. And that team from the late 70s come in.
Ron Guidry, Greg Nettles,
Right.
Bucky Dent, those guys, yeah.
And then later on, Toronto, when the Chiefs became an affiliate of the Blue Jays, the Blue Jays would come in. I saw Danny Ainge in a Blue Jay uniform, the basketball
Not a Celtics
player.
uniform.
Not a Celtics uniform.
And something you used to go to also a lot that this generation wouldn't know anything about was the Hall of Fame game in Cooperstown. Where they would bring two major league teams in to play each other in Cooperstown on Hall of Fame weekend, which they don't do anymore.
No, they don't. What they've done over the past few years is bring in
like legends of the game.
Well, former major leaguers to play the game itself that maybe had just retired or just so that it was, almost a real game. They would wear the uniform that they retired in.
Right.
And they do that now instead of doing it on the weekend of the induction. They do it Memorial Day weekend. So it's like a Saturday afternoon.
It's a totally separate event, which is nice.
And you would have Hall of Famers there that would manage the team, quote unquote manage the team. But yeah, players that had just I went down a few years ago and saw Matsui.
Yes,
play.
Hideki Matsui.
He had just retired from the Yankees and was part of the roster that was playing a game there.
Well, I remember one of the last ones where they had major league teams come in to play in Cooperstown that you went down to cover.
Yep.
You got to interview Dave Tremblay, right?
Dave Tremblay from Carthage, who later ended up managing the Orioles.
Right.
And a longtime manager in the minors, had the opportunity in Baltimore to manage the Baltimore Orioles. And it's kind of neat. I guess you don't miss what you don't have, especially for younger kids. But boy, as a young guy myself, going and seeing a major league team come in to play an exhibition game against their top affiliate, it was fun. And I feel bad. That's one of the things that has gone by the wayside because. And you can't blame major league players because, on a day off, the last thing they want to do is get on a plane
and go to Syracuse
for the night where they could be with their family or something like that.
And the risk of injury with them as well. I mean, a lot of those guys would just show up and, they would have other guys play and you would have the major leaguers like Reggie and Ron Guidry there and all, but... the risk of injury, too, with, the way things are today with major league contracts and the collective bargaining agreement. So
yeah, so, I mean, I'm not saying that, our generation had it real good because we had a pro team in town or we had the Yankees going to Syracuse for an exhibition game, but you don't have that anymore, and it was fun. It was fun at the time. Nor do you have this. We need this back.
Bring them back.
Bring them back. They make good souvenirs. And I actually have a bunch of tickets underneath the glass table that I have, a round table at home. So
that
they're
is
kind
cool.
of fun to look at.
Talking points when you sit down.
Yep. Anything else? I mean, we haven't. We've got Ashley Seabolt, who is our producer of this show this week.
She's not saying much because of the Devils.
Well, the Devils, and I was gonna question her about that a little bit. She is a New Jersey Devils fan, and as of this, I guess I can say taping, recording.
Yeah.
They're down, I think, 0-2 in their series against the Carolina Hurricanes. So, it doesn't look good for the Devils right now, but they are heading home, so maybe the home ice will help them.
Well, you know who showed up at the game the other night in Carolina? Bill Belichick.
Yes,
he was at the game.
I take it that wasn't his daughter. No, it wasn't. No, it's his girlfriend.
I think she got ID'd, though.
Good for you, Bill. All righty. I guess that's it. Once again, thank you to 315 Local Bakery and Diner in Alexandria Bay for supporting us, for supporting this. It's nice to go down memory lane every once in a while, and
Yeah.
not so much for your benefit out there, although we hope you enjoyed it, but for our benefit too.
A little
because,
history, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've had fun, and really, you and I have enjoyed the time that we have as far as covering events.
Oh,
because we had a
absolutely.
chance to see that, and we had all the way through. So I mean, we've seen some great stuff.
Well, and one more before we go.
Sure.
And you still joke with me about this when the Watertown Indians were here, when Bob Feller came to town.
Yes,
the Hall of Fame.
You want
pitcher.
to do the poor Bob, may he rest in peace.
The game got rained out,
did get
so
rained out.
Mel called down. They're like, "Mr. Feller's here. If you want to come down to
Yep.
interview him, come down." So Mel's like, "Yeah, if he's doing autographs." I'm
exciting.
like, "Okay." So I go down and I do the interview, and then I go, "Mr. Feller, any chance I can get an autograph?" So he pops the trunk open. He's got 2 briefcases, opens both of them. One has a black and white photo of him. One has a color photo of him.
Nice.
He goes,
Pictures.
5 smacks for this one, 10 smacks for this one. So
Alrighty. so we paid it.
yeah,
And the guy needs the money.
yeah.
He didn't make a ton when he played back in the 40s.
And if it wasn't for World War II,
Yep.
he would have easily
Yep.
had a lot more wins.
And I paid a lot more for memorabilia. So it's, $10, it was worth it.
Yep.
It was Bob Feller.
Yep.
And they did a thing, he had been here, he was here that night. He had been here before when the Pirates were here. And you could actually, and I wish I had the certificate, you could bat against Bob Feller.
Oh, that's neat.
So he was still, whatever age he was at that point, throwing. It was 1983, and he'd lob it up there, and if you got a base hit, you get a certificate saying I got a base hit off of Bob Feller, signed by Bob Feller.
You didn't have to pay the 5 or 10 smacks to get the signature.
Didn't have
though,
to pay for it.
But
No.
to hit against him, you probably
Yeah, it was fun. It was
I
enjoyable.
hit against the Hall of Famer.
Yeah. That's it. That's all we got for you. The local teams will be back next week from vacation, and but that won't stop us from
No.
reminiscing even more. We appreciate you folks being with us. We appreciate Ashley behind the board, and appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you
It was
being
fun.
here, too. It was fun.
We'll see you later. Take care.